Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday once again. Hard to believe this is our 24th edition of Make It With Me Monday. Can't believe that it's been going on that long, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it just as much as I have. I really enjoy getting together with you guys every Monday, whether you can watch it live or later, because I know you all leave comments no matter when you're watching. It's just really fun to see you guys interact and see what you come up with when you send me your creations later. Just love it. Just wanted to remind you again, these catalogs went live last week. If for some reason you do not have them, make sure you let me know and I will shoot them out to you right away. Especially you don't want to miss out on Celebration. It goes through the end of September, and that's got free items in it for every, hi Mary Lynn, nice to see you tonight, for $50 purchases, and there's a couple that are available with a $100 purchase. You definitely don't want to miss out on getting some really fun free stuff. They kind of switched this one up a little bit. There's a lot of paper in here that is just, oh my gosh, so cute. I cannot get enough of these little snowmen, penguins. The sparkly stuff is really fun. But yeah, this penguin one is really getting me, because I already had that bundle with the penguin and the punch, and oh my gosh, it coordinates so nicely together. So make sure that you guys have these, and like I said, if you don't, give me a shout out right away so I can make sure to get them into your hands, okay? All right, I'm gonna go through again here. Hi Kathy, happy Monday to you too. Hopefully you guys have had, again, a great weekend. I know it's been like the rain though, man, I've had enough of that for a while, I think, or at least the stormy stuff. Definitely ready without the stormy stuff. I like gentle rains, you know, they're great for our gardens and our lawns and stuff, but I can do without the wicked storms and the tornado warnings, that's for sure. All right, so just a quick reminder, tonight you guys are gonna get a two-fer. We're gonna actually end up with 2 cards at the end of this, so just a little extra bonus way of using up some of your designer series paper. I got this idea this week from Connie Stewart, who did a video on doing this as well, and I just changed up the size just a little bit to make it a little more designer series paper friendly. You know, I like to do my cuts in 3 inches or 4 inches because it goes really nicely across a 12. So that's why you start out with the 4x4 square. Okay, so you're gonna have 2 card bases, and I said for this point to make them neutral to go with your DSP, and then as you'll see as I show you some stepped up versions or different versions, how you could change that later if you want, when you're ready to do something different again. You need a piece of DSP that's 4x4, and you need a coordinating cardstock that's 1/4 inch wide, and the length doesn't totally matter as much. I just used the 11 because it's going to be easy to get 2 cuts out of the length of 1 sheet of cardstock. So that's why I stuck with the 11. As you'll see when I'm doing mine, I have a couple 1/4 inch scraps from some other things that I had, so mine won't look exactly like 11 inches. But so in that case for tonight, then I am using the thick basic white as my 2 neutral bases. And I'm using a 4x4 square from the Peach designer series paper. So I'll show you that the peaches are on this side, and then there's little teeny tiny peaches on that side. So super cute. And then I have some strips of Old Olive, like I said, in that 1/4 inch width that we'll be working with tonight. So one of the other things you need to have on handy for this is you're gonna need a paper trimmer. You're gonna want that handy for cutting up our DSP a little bit. So I of course have the one from Stampin' Up, which I really love. It locks in place by itself, so there's a nice little gripping thing that holds that shut. You can hang it up with this little notch here. It comes with both scoring and cutting blades, and when you want to go larger, if you have a larger piece of paper, this arms swing out really nicely to get anything up to 17 inch width. So even when we're cutting our 12x12s, you're just going to be out to there, so that's a really nice thing. All right, so that's just a little bit of a highlight about our paper trimmer. Okay, so if you have that handy, go ahead and grab your paper trimmer and grab your piece of designer series paper. Excuse me. Okay, so open up your thing, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna place our strip of DSP in here, and we're gonna stay between the 1 inch on this side and the 1 inch on this side. Now the exact measurements of this don't matter. So your angle and your cut and whatever can be completely different. I would just I wouldn't go more than 1 inch either way. So I'm gonna do mine right about maybe 3/4 and 3/4. So I put this point on my 3/4 mark, and I put this point on that 3/4 mark. But again, the measurement means nothing. So take it wherever you like. Okay, lock that back into place. and cut. And now you're gonna have two pieces that are kind of on a fun angle. Okay, now take a look at those pieces and decide if you definitely want to use both of those, or if you like something that's on the other side, you can do one of each, that sort of thing. We're going to place them in different, depending on how your pattern goes, is going to depend on where you place this on your card base. Like if I look at this one, this to me definitely seems like it has a direction to it, and I would want to use it this way, because my peach tops seem to be mostly up there. Like if I did it this way, I would feel like they're kind of upside down, if that makes sense. Something that's a little more random won't really matter. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're preparing your card bases. So for the card base, again, all you're gonna need to do is fold that in half and give it a good score. And we're gonna do the same for the second one. And then one of those pieces that you cut is gonna go on one card and one is gonna go on the other. So just make sure you've got them laid out. You can decide at this point if you wanna do landscapes or portraits. Either way would work, okay? Mine are both gonna be, actually I think I'm gonna do one portrait because I was gonna show you another option for something there. Okay, so I'm gonna take my first one, which was my peaches that kind of go, okay, I like my peaches going that direction. So I'm gonna lay that one out like this. So pick a corner that it's gonna fit into. So based on the shape, if you have this kind of cut, you're gonna go here or here. And if you have that cut, you're gonna be here or here. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Take a look again at, like I said, take a look at what you've got and you can decide where your pieces are best laid out, okay? So I'm gonna choose to do it kind of like, nope, where did I go? There we go, like this. I want it at the other direction. Okay, so again, I have one each direction. And again, you use whatever looks good for you. You're just gonna adhere this directly down on your card base. Oop, my tape runner doesn't wanna cooperate. There we go. All right, and because we cut this at a 4, it's gonna leave a little bit of a border around each side. So just make sure that looks pretty even when you're placing that down, okay? And then I'm gonna do the same thing for my other piece on this card. Leaving a little bit of a border. And there we go. So that's the bases of your first two cards. Then you're gonna come back in with these strips of a 1/4 inch wide cardstock that you cut. I'm just gonna see if this is long enough. I think it just about perfect, good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna place it along the edge of the DSP. Hi Karen, I'm so glad you got to join us even if you're a little late. No worries there. So you're gonna place this at the edge of the DSP angle that we just cut out. And I'm gonna do mine with glue because it's a little pretty thin. You can of course use whatever adhesive you need or that you have on hand, but just that little thin line of glue will work really nicely. And I already have an angle cut nice on here because I think I used this piece on one of my samples, which is why it's cut like that. All right, so if you're starting fresh with a big piece, of course you're gonna end up going off those angles, okay? And I just realized I have that on the wrong side as well. So hold please while I fix that because I could put that on the complete wrong angle. Again. Alrighty. There we go. So mine is gonna go over here now. Okay. Now I'm gonna take my glue again. Run it along there. And like I said, I'll show you if you have a big piece like this, just line it up against the edge of that designer series paper that you have there. And then all you're gonna do is just trim off what's extra, okay? So scissor, and like to flip it over, look at the opposite side, and that's what you're gonna trim off, okay? So again, scissor, trimming, and trimming. Okay, get those little scraps out of the way. Alrighty, now for my phrase, I'm going to use something from a stamp set called Best Year. This is a carryover set in the annual catalog. It's on page 103. I like this one because it has what I call insides and outsides. So you have a really nice like happy birthday to you, wishing you your best year yet. And then those are together. Hi Carol, good to see you. And the thanks for all that you are and every thoughtful thing you do. So I really like that some of these have an inside and an outside to go with it too. And there's a nice phrase for Dad on Father's Day as well. I always like when we have an inside verse to play with. All right, now based on the color in my paper, I'm gonna be grabbing my Calypso Coral ink pad, and then I'm gonna show you the two different ways I am gonna set up my thank you words. So on this one, I have a nice big space, and this is where you're gonna take your pieces that were, or your stamps that you have, and if you have a large phrase, do that first, and then you can fill in with other images if you want. I just need to get the rest of that adhesive goopy off there. And I am just gonna place my phrase right here. And there we go. That is all I'm gonna do to that card. So very simple, very quick. Again, you get 2 out of a 4x4 piece, which is really great. And I'm gonna change this one up just a little bit because there's kind of a fun angle we can play with this guy as well. Because we can do that right along the angle that you have made from that piece of paper that you've put down before, your DSP. There we go. All right, so there you go, guys. That is it. So again, decide based on what papers you've used, where your angles are gonna place nicely, where they're gonna look the best. Pull the colors out of the DSP you chose, okay? And then either have a nice large phrase to fill in the difference, or a phrase and plus some imagery. I have a sample of that to show you later as well. So I'm just gonna push these off to the side a little bit and go through a couple samples that I made for you. I shared a video earlier this week on my Facebook page with the Painted Christmas suite. And this is the DSP from that suite, which is really pretty Christmas patterns. And I like this one in particular because it's such a large imagery. So even when you cut it up into smaller pieces, you're still seeing a lot of that. And I thought this would really pop this way. So again, it's the same base. It's a basic white base. I pulled the piece of DSP from there, added the real red, and then just a real red phrase on there. And that's it. It filled up the space really nicely. And this would be a really awesome layout. And real quick, if you need to do like a whole stack of Christmas cards. Hi, Jessie. Good to see you tonight. If you need to do a really quick stack of Christmas cards or a bunch that you like to just, do on assembly line style, this would be perfect. And I'm going to show you where I got that phrase from. It's from Holly Jolly Wishes, and that's in the mini catalog, and it's on page 29. There's some really great, this is the one I used. Obviously, it's a really large one here. And I like that this is a combination of cutesy, you've got Holly Jolly, all the cutesy ones, and then you've got still some very pretty, what's the word I'm gonna look for? We'll just stick with pretty. Pretty phrases, pretty fonts, that kind of thing. Makes it a little bit not such a cute Christmas card, more traditional looking. Maybe that's where I'm going with that. So again, that is page 29. And if you don't already have a set that has a lot of nice Christmas phrases in it, I would definitely recommend picking this one up while this mini catalog is out. So again, this is Painted Christmas. Okay. And then I did a set with one of the celebration items that you can earn. This is the paper called Beautifully Penned. It's all in black and white, and it coordinates or mimics other imagery that we have in our hand-penned DSP from the annual catalog, but this is all in black and white. And what I like about this, there's only 3 patterns in the pack, and you get 4 sheets of each one. So this will be a really great way, again, to do multiples where you have the same papers you'll be able to use. And this one has a really nice washed look to the whole thing. There's a little bit of that washed look on here. And then there's this pattern that I used tonight. And because this comes in black and white, you can go ahead and use your blends or your sponges, your blending brushes to add color into this. This one in particular is really pretty to add color to. And then the opposite sides are more traditional white with some black. There's cute little polka dots. And then this one too would be a great one to color in just some of those flowers and then pop, do a punch out of just those. And then that looks like, whoops, if I do it this way, kind of get the feeling of waves or scallops on that one too. So this is a really nice one to pick up right now during celebration with your $50 order. I also then used the stamp set called Lovely You on page 37 of the annual catalog. And this phrase I did separately and then mounted it just to give it a little more depth because it was just strictly black and white. And I wanted to be able to have that pop out a little bit more. So they're each on a little layer, but the basics is the same. So basic white, a bit of DSP, and black. I just kept it strictly black and white on that one. And now I'm going to show you a couple where I did a little bit more color. So I used the cinnamon cider as my background. I stamped in cinnamon cider and in early espresso, and then I used our cork paper, and that's going to be in the mini catalog on page 55. It comes in a 12 by 12 sheet, but I'll show you just a little sample here. There's some like almost little, where the cracks in the cork would be, they actually put it like, there it goes. So you can see it's a little bit shiny in there, which is kind of neat, and it's really thin. And then there's just this a really interesting, almost corrugated look on the back. It looked kind of like just regular cardboard. But I used that cork piece, and I did these exactly the same layout just because I kind of liked the way it looked, and it fit into there really nicely. And these guys come from the Sailing Home on page 51 of the annual. So that was a little bit of a twist. If you want to use a dark card base, make sure you just have something darker card base, and then just make something that will pop off of that. And if you don't, and you want to use a really truly colored card base, here's a little bit of a stepped up version I did of the peachy ones I was doing before. So I used definitely a solid color card base, and then I cut a layer that's 4 by 5 1/4 in the white. And that's what I adhered the paper to and the stamped on, etc. And instead of a strip of cardstock on this one, I used a ribbon. So that's the Pale Papaya ribbon. I think it's about a 3/8 inch or something like that. But it's kind of got a satin finish and a little threadbare in the middle. It looks really pretty along with this here. So this one is, of course, the Sweet as a Peach actual stamp set to go along with the Sweet as Peach designer series paper I used. And the peach stuff is on page 61 of the annual catalog. There we go. So I chose 2 different card bases. I have Old Olive and I have Calypso Coral. Those are the ones that fit in with my DSP that's here. And I did stamp then in the coral and in, I think it would actually might be pear, if it's not olive. I forgot to write down what color I used there. So there you go. That's a little bit of a different option. Here's the first ones I did with that peach paper, so you can just see the difference of how it's just all white backgrounds here, and then this just gives it a little bit more pop. So like I said, think of different things you could use in this area. You've got your ribbons, if you've got like washi tape that would go with anything like that, where you can just lay it out right along the lines and with those angles and everything. That would be a really great use of something like that. All right, so I think though by far my favorite actually turned out to be the Christmas ones. I think, like I said, this is just a great pop. Simple but pretty, and a nice pop of Christmas color. I really like the way those turned out, and I think I might end up making quite a few of those because I said it's kind of quick and easy, but they're still very, very pretty. So like I said, if you want to go with more of the colored background, just get a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4 to put your stamping and your paper on before you mount it onto your colored cardstock. All right, everybody, that should do it for tonight. If you have any questions about anything I did, go ahead and plop those into the comments, and I will look back when we're all done loading this up and answer any questions you have. And it was really nice to have you guys all join me tonight. This one went by pretty fast, actually. Of course, you're very welcome, Kathy. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed them. And I hope to see your creations later, whether you post them on the page or you send them to me separately. Totally up to you. But I like to see what we're all making, what we're all using, especially when you can pull out some older. You guys have such a variety of DSPs and stamp sets and styles, and it's just really, really fun to see that you just take what you got and use the base, and we all end up with different things, and they're all just awesome and lovely. All right, everybody, thanks Claire, Carol, everybody else who was here tonight, and we will talk to you soon. See you next Monday. Bye-bye now.